Now, to further discuss the impacts of flood on farming, we have Debo Adeniyi, is Executive Director, Center for Global Solutions and Sustainability. Thank you for joining us on Business Now.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
Now, yes, talk to us about the impact of recent flooding across the state that was recorded. About 33 states out of 36 in Nigeria were affected, massively affected across the state. So talk to us about the impact of these on livelihood and most especially farming activities.
Flooding in itself, one of the effect of climate change, is something that nobody prays for, and it happened recently. Flood washed away the topsoil, which is the richest part of the soil, and which contains the organic matter and other crop nutrients and deposits. So when it happens, it will wash away that topsoil. In terms of farming, you won't have that quality soil to germinate your crops, which eventually will lead to reduction in the soil's fertility and its sustainable use. The flooding in itself affects several aspects of agricultural production and productivity. And in many instances, as it's happened recently across 33 states, crops were being unrecoverable after the flood occurred. And the areas that are hit by flood or riverine flood, livestock, we saw people losing livestock, hundreds of thousands of livestock that are lost, or some of them are displaced, including fish in the water bodies. We've seen, especially in ponds, whose structures are not strong, and grazing land for livestock are even lost as well. Even cows running helter-skelter for their lives, floating on waters trying to survive. A lot of farming products were damaged across the country. So most times when livestock is not completely lost, they get affected by numbers of diseases due to exposures to the flood water. We listen to a lot of farmers now complaining that even after the flood has gone, some of their livestock are still dying because they contacted quite a number of diseases. And from research we made recently, it also revealed that the flood prevented root crop expansion. It's led to premature harvest. A lot of farmers were harvesting some of their crops prematurely. Some cassavas, we saw them being rotting across board. We saw yams being rotting, and we saw tomatoes perishing because the roads were totally cut off. Farmers couldn't move product from the north to south because there was nowhere to pass. Trailers parking across borders or on the road and waiting for the flood to subside while they move. And after the whole thing.
Okay, let me quickly come in here if you can hear me, Debo. Yes, of course. This I know nations of the world, every government of the nation try to rise up to tackle the impacts of climate change. Did you think that these took us unaware or unprepared? It is something that we're unprepared for.
Climate change in itself, when the impact occurs, it naturally gets you unaware, one, despite preparation. It needs robust and holistic preparation. I think we need to get it right. Solving weather-based events requires first and foremost an analysis of causative factor. There are several factors that will cause flooding. Are we really getting it right? Then the planning for preventions and mitigation follows. In a case where flooding is being caused by, for example, plastic bottles, like you have bottled waters, the plastic waste, and all of that. Solving that will require you to go clean the drainages, sensitize the people, and ensuring that these plastics are not blocking waterways. So farmers are just looking at there's flooding everywhere, whereas it was the plastics causing all of this. So first and foremost, analysis. If you get our analysis right, to detect what are those causative factors, and that will help a lot. There are different even technologies and mitigation strategies that the government needs to really put in place or adopt to curb the impact of flooding. And some of these texts are used in climate modeling, even and forecasting, as well as flood detection. I think we are not doing much in terms of flood detection. We are not doing much in terms of forecasting for flooding. We are not doing much in terms of climate modeling. All these things are very crucial for our government to put in place. Alongside these technologies like risk assessment and emergency planning, I think that area we are a bit poor. Flood proofing, dry flood forecasting, flood insurance are key areas that even farmers need to really look at, so that when these issues happen, they are being protected.
I know flood insurance is another, a bottle of conversation, or will I say, yes, side of conversation to this whole issue. Yes, I asked that question because I know that.
Here again.
Can you hear me? In the meantime, what should we be looking at so as to reduce the impact? I mean, recently we witnessed a situation where some people have to be evacuated in a community in Bayelsa State as a result of flooding. I mean, their community was swept by floods and all that. So in the immediate, what do you think the government needs to do to address the impact of this climate change, of this flooding on livelihoods?
Infrastructure is very key, both in rural areas and urban areas, which should be enhanced. Land use planning, designated floodways, reservoirs and barriers, such as canals, dams. We need it very urgently. Flood walls. There's what we call flood walls. Government can, put in place. Should be solidly built and maintained by agencies responsible. Maybe, for example, Federal Ministry of Water Resources or the River Basin Development Authority. They should look at all of this. Okay, I watched the documentary where Cameroon said they built a dam and Nigeria did not build its own counterpart dam, and that was why if they release the waters and it caused flooding in our area. So government should try as much as possible build the dams, the canals, the reservoirs, the barriers. If we have all of these things, then flooding will be contained.
All right. I think we should leave it there for now. Thank you so much, Debo, for coming on the program. Thank you for your time on Business Now.
Thank you so much.